Okay, we're live. Here we are, live.
How you
Hey,
guys
everybody.
doing?
Thanks for tuning in to my channel. As you can see, we're very casual here on Amanda the Author's channel. What is up? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm
I'm
Chelsea.
Amanda. This is Chelsea. We're kicking it. We're
Yeah,
casual. Let me just take this lipstick off. I don't even know why I put it on. I'm about to eat lunch and I'm over here like, lipstick.
yeah.
Meanwhile, taquitos and guacamole. Girl,
I mean, it's whatever works. I am literally, this is me trying my best today. I put some lotion on my face and I showed up. So that
hey,
fixed it.
sometimes that is all you can do. Sometimes all you can do is put lotion on your face, do a little under eye cream, and that's it. And other times, it's like
Yeah,
full glam.
full glam. My full glam days are few and far between because I'm so lazy. It's part of the reason I don't wear contacts, even though I have them. I don't mind putting them in. I don't mind putting makeup on. I do not like taking them off. Taking it off. I'm just like, this is not the life for me. So these people out here who be doing full makeup tutorials, and I'm like, I know that took you 8 hours to put on. I know it did. And then you had to take it off. Absolutely not. No, thank you. I can't do it. It's not in me. It's not in my spirit. It's not who I am. So
It's not in my spirit. Yeah. So I have taken to not wearing full makeup when I do. I usually do like some concealer if I need it.
mm,
Usually I do. So some concealer under eye. I'll do a little bit of like bronzer kind of, here and here. Blush, mascara, and lipstick. That's usually my thing. I don't even really wear foundation often. Hello.
mm.
Thanks for
Oh,
joining.
hello, cool gamer. Welcome. And see, I'm one of those people where like my entire like knowledge of makeup comes from that one time my mom took me to the mall when I was 14, 15,
The
and the
MAC
lady
counter.
there, I don't even know what was. She took me. No, she took me to the was it the Vanity Fair counter because it was black and the black lady was there, and they
Ah,
actually had my shade. And she showed me like how to put it on, and like she is like in her like 50s or 60s or something, so it's like very very basic, very traditional. And I'm just like, I never learned because I never really had like a desire. I never really had a desire. So I think I upgraded once when I was like an adult, and I was just like, oh, hey Ash, how you doing?
and
Welcome.
well, look, whatever you're doing is great because your skin is glowing. You are
Oh,
glowing. You look
thank
good. The
you.
cheeks are bright, so you look good.
It's just the
Um,
lighting. This is what I look like without the lights.
you
I just
could
be
just
dark.
take a compliment. That's also something that could happen.
I can learn how to take a compliment. Oh my god, thank you for calling me pretty. I appreciate that.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I feel like it's super dark in my area. Do
I don't
I
think
like
so.
open this? I don't know. It's fine.
I think
Anyway,
you look good.
okay. Thanks. Here we
Yeah.
are. Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you guys. I don't have the energy to argue with you guys, so I'm just gonna accept that. I'm so tired. But
So make sure to give Chelsea her compliments when she's tired. Then she knows she'll accept them. Yeah, today I think that kind of leads into one of the main topics that I wanted to talk about, which is like how do you do the thing, the writing thing, the authoring thing when you're tired, when you're stressed, when there's a lot of fuck shit happening in the world. I'm 4 minutes in, so now I can cuss. Um how? Because we all know what's been happening this week. And for me, I have a month to do rewrites on a book, and I'm only 30,000 words in. So I have like 50,000 words to plus to get in shape. I'm tired. I'm so
literally,
tired.
I am too. I'm so exhausted. It's just kind of like it's one of those things where you don't realize how much of a toll things take on you, like from the outside world, until it starts to take a toll on you and it just hits you all at
Right.
once. Because at first you're just like, okay, this is just another thing that we're going to deal with. This is just another thing. But then, like, it takes over, like I can't go on Twitter, I can't go on TikTok without, specifically Twitter, without long threads of people sharing very personal stories that have to come with content warnings.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. It's like, it's not something like, oh, you could just mute this or you could just not pay attention to it, because it's like, you want to know, you want to be informed, but at the same time, it's so mentally demanding and emotionally exhausting. And you just kind of get to a point where you're just like, meh.
I know.
Like, and then you're like, what can I do about it? And it's like, yeah, we can vote and yeah, we could do this, but there are so many things that were done in the past that are just like, hell no, homie. I just kind of want to write books. That's all I wanted to do. Y'all are asking a lot of me, and I'm not even adulting well today. So,
I think one of the hardest things is not feeling guilty for not engaging in that content, because for me, what I'm seeing is a whole lot of people, especially because the Met Gala happened the day that all of this, obviously y'all were talking about Roe v. Wade
mhm,
tangentially. We're not going to go into the whole shebang about it, but
yeah.
people just being like, no one gives a fuck about the Met Gala. They about to take abortion away, and why are you so pressed about rich people wearing gowns we can't afford when all this other stuff is happening? And to a certain extent, I get it, but it's also like, first of all, people can walk and chew gum at the same time, or at least one would hope. So you can be, aware and talking about multiple things, especially because Twitter is the platform where the more you tweet, like, kind of the better, right?
Mhm.
Because you get better engagement. But also, how do you know that this isn't somebody who is severely kind of triggered by this thing happening with Roe v. Wade and is talking about the Met Gala to then decompress?
And I think that's the thing that people have to understand. It's just like, there is, even in the midst of the worst things, there is still joy, and you can't be stressed out all the time. Like, for sure, don't ignore it, but there does get a point where you're just like, okay, I have to take a step back, I have to take a step away, I have to breathe, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like the Met Gala for a lot of people was that talking about stupid things on TikTok. Is that doing silly trends? Is that it's a coping mechanism, for lack of a better term, like reading more books is that for a lot of people, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, yes, keep the main thing, but also it's cool. It's cool to like relax and decompress and de-stress, because like I know today, like I just slept. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired. I got up and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't check TikTok yesterday or the day before, whatever. And so I was like, let me get on there, be active, right? Do my little
Mm-hmm.
necessities. And then it was just kind of like my For You page just had so much heavy stuff. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to sleep and try again later, because this is not it. And even like
Mm-hmm.
listening to podcasts and like watching YouTube videos, everything is becoming saturated with that, and it's a
Overwhelming.
lot,
Yeah.
overwhelming. And writing becomes hard because, naturally as creative people, you're kind of like a sponge. And if you're trying to write
Mm-hmm.
something happy or light, or even like something that doesn't have anything to do with it, that's just like, that's the thing that's on your mind. And it naturally starts to seep into what you're writing, whether you want to or not, or even blocks your creativity, because like when you're feeling negative, it's kind of hard to get past that. That can block oh, I want to sit down and write and be creative, you know?
Right. This is a good point. It's also so insensitive for folks to assume things. Some people only get on social for short periods of time. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that we all you have to consider the fact that, like, not everybody is safe to be talking about their opinions out in these social streets, right? Like,
Mhm.
not not everybody is out. Not everybody is able to be vocal on certain platforms because of their family and whatnot. So I think it's in moments like these, it's important to have understanding of other people. And also, why are you expecting everybody to be talking about something that they might not even have a firm grasp on? It's like, when we expect people to be posting about Black History Month
And
and
it's like,
or
if you
like
don't
George Floyd and things like that. And it's like, well, not everybody needs to because how many times have we seen people fumble the ball trying to be like, well, I have to say something. No, you
No, you
don't,
don't.
Mary.
I jump on for community laughs, inspiration, and looking at perfume. Like, but no, really, honestly, truly, that's part of the reason why I created a Discord, because I feel like it's a safe space, but also it's not social media. You can have a community and it's not overwhelmed or flooded with other things. So like, because I think pretty much most of the people who are in the comments, Ash, Read, Love, Listen, Amanda, y'all are in the Melanin Network Discord server. So it's just like being able to talk about, like comic books or writing sprints, or, trying to arrange something where it's just like, let's get together and like shoot ideas, and just being able to have a conversation that has nothing to do with what's going on and not feel targeted or blamed for that. It's like sometimes I just want to talk about books. Sometimes we just want to
Right.
have a writing sprint, and it's kind of weird to be on Twitter right now and be like, "Hey, you guys, you want to come do something fun with me?" When it's literally showing up between everything else. It just feels weird, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that, when it comes to making the mental space for it, I think the guilt, that guilt trip that some people try to play on social, or even subconsciously, even if nobody's directing that at you specifically, subconsciously there could be a little bit of like, dang, am I not doing enough? Am I not vocal enough? Am I not present enough with what's happening in the world? Uh, I think especially with a lot of things that have happened within the last couple of years, that's been kind of a through line of like, am I not doing enough? But then
Mm,
you run the risk of burning yourself out because you're trying to do everything, be present for everything, and then people don't
preach to the choir.
realize just how much of that shit will just take a toll on you. And especially if you got like anxiety or depression or anything like that, like, I'm very vocal on here about my anxiety and all that. And uh, I, I, I really truly have to have moments of just, okay, like set a timer, be on Twitter, 25 minutes, dope, done. I have to get back because I can't mire myself into it. And I'm on deadline. I can't just
Yeah.
tell my editor, oh yeah, well, I can't get this to you because I spent all my time on Twitter trying to be part of the moment because of the shit happening in the world. I got shit to do.
But no, like literally, honestly and truly, that's a real thing. And like I said,
Hmm.
preach to the choir, because I know this and I still do it. And I am currently at a point where I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. And it's interesting because I feel like I am just at a point in my life where I'm just like, you know what? I just have to put it down. I just have to put it down. I can't do this. I cannot function like this anymore. I've been pushing through so much and just being like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And I'm like, nah, homie, can't do it. Don't want to do it. I'm tired of trying. I just
Right.
want to take a nap. I just want to like plant little virtual crops, since I'm never actually going to go outside, and sleep. That's it. And write books. But but yeah,
Hmm.
I burned myself out during the Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin years. That's when I only had Tumblr and Facebook. I got into so many heated debates, and I promised myself to just use social media. No, but like honestly,
Hmm.
okay, so I saw a tweet, and you guys can let me know how y'all feel about it. And Amanda, hopefully you don't mind me sharing like this type of content on your channel, but it's just kind of like, um, somebody tweeted, and I don't remember the exact wording of it. I didn't like favorite it or anything, so I know I'm not gonna be able to find it. But basically, a black woman was like, she was trying to figure out why she was finding it hard, why she didn't like dystopian books or whatever. And basically, she had a friend point out to her that she doesn't like dystopian books because it's basically just in most senses, white women imagining what it would be like to be treated like a person of
I saw
color.
that. I saw
And
that. Yeah.
she was like, we're treated like this all the time. I don't want to read your terrible fantasy where you get to leave and this is my life, And when people are like, oh, we're getting into a dystopian, world or whatever, it's just like, yeah, but also like and this is so negative, and I guess this is just something that I might need to work through in my mind. But I'm just like, Black women have the highest mortality rates when it came to pregnancy anyway. And so now that it's starting to apply to more than just Black women, now it's a conversation piece. Now it's a topic of discussion. And I think there was a TikTok where somebody, was talking about the statistics or whatever. And they were like, there's only actually, if it went to a popular vote, there's only like 30% of America who actually support this decision that they're trying to make. But they are the majority in the decision making political body or whatever.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, that's wild. That's really,
I
really wild.
Yeah, I saw that tweet thread. I think somebody had said that, ooh, Margaret Atwood specifically was looking up historical shit to add, and she is, I guess, said, and I think she's a TERF, so I don't really
I
cape
don't know.
for
I've never
Atwood.
read Margaret Atwood, never
But
engaged with The Handmaid's Tale or anything
well,
like that.
she did historical research, and basically all the shit that's in The Handmaid's Tale is shit that's already happened to Black and brown women here, elsewhere, whatever, indigenous women, all that. And so I get what you're saying, and I get dystopian. To me, it tends to be my least favorite type of content. I guess unless it's like a zombie type thing, because I'm like, okay, I'll do a zombie
But is that dystopian? That
apocalypse.
sounds fantasy. That's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, but like to me, I need like some kind of fantastical element if I'm gonna read something where it's like this is another society. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need Hunger Game. Like I started watching the Hunger Games and I got right to where she was about to go in the arena and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I thought I could, but then the moment where they're all like killing each other, I was like, you know what?
And I never read The Hunger Games because that came out like literally, I want to say around my like freshman year of high school, senior year of high school, freshman year of college. And I just was not I want to say the movies came out. So the books had to be out before then, but the movies came out around that time. And I did not read The Hunger Games. And I was just like, it had, what was her face? It had somebody in it that I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go see it. When I tell you, I have never actually fallen asleep in a movie theater except for the one time that I went to go see Hunger Games. And I was just like, this is boring. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. And did they just kill the Black girl? I'm dead. I'm done. I'm taking a
You're
nap. Wake
right.
me up when this movie is over.
Yeah, so I saw it in theaters. I was in college. I didn't read it. I had a friend read it. He loved it. Then we went to see it in theaters and I enjoyed it, but I've never seen the other movies. I've never had a desire to. And I think there's something about how when things in the world around you are, I guess, kind of ish copacetic, and I say that in quotes, right? For the status quo, things are peaceful, things are okay. We're not in a recession, there's not a pandemic, there's not a lot of racial injustice and societal unrest. I say that in fully quotes, right? Because
Aren't we
it's
in
like,
all of this right now at the
but
same
but
time?
listen, but it's like peaceful for whom, right? Again,
Right.
status quo. Um, Dystopian books tend to be more popular. And I think that's why a lot of people have issues reading dystopian now, is because we are in a dystopian novel. If Black Mirror had to stop making episodes because they're like, y'all, we got nothing, because look around. Look around. You know that you're living in a bad way because the makers of the Black Mirror were like, I can't top this. Murder hornets? Murder hornets, dog? Like I can't
Like,
top
what you want
that
me to come up
shit.
with?
Right. They say write what you know. Do you want to see us fictionalize this shit? I don't think so.
Uh,
Yes, that's true. Katniss is
of
supposed to be indigenous, and she was played by Jennifer Lawrence,
didn't know that.
who was everybody's favorite white lady for a long time.
She
All that were missing
was.
the alien.
It was that and Divergent. I didn't even realize for the longest that The Hunger Games and Divergent were different series until they were played by different characters.
Right, yeah, I didn't give a shit about Divergent. But yeah, so in terms of like the tweet, I get it because it
Yeah.
if you're reading dystopian thinking this is some out the box shit and the author is just completely brilliant, then you're not doing your history. doing your history. Ugh, you're not reading history. You're not doing research.
No, I understand where you were going though, and I'm like, oh God, we both must be so tired because I understood what you meant immediately. I didn't even catch it until you said something.
God, I need more coffee. And so it's yeah, so why would you want to read that content? But then in terms of like mustering the strength to do, I guess, if I had to say some advice on like how do you push through, uh timers are kind of my best friend. Writing and doing sprints, having a good writing community. For me, it's giving myself a break because I have been exhausted. Like we are talking 5 o'clock. Yesterday, I was was laying in bed and I was just watching like an episode of Charmed, and I'm sitting there. Well, I was sitting and I was eating like peanut butter, and I was like, I'm so tired. Like I just was sitting there and I just closed my eyes and I was like, oh, this is nice. You're tired when like you close your eyes and you're like, oh, 5-second nap.
And you wake up.
Restore me. You know what I mean? And like it's just it's work, it's having these rewrites. I'm doing this anthology with diverse books with magic, so thankfully my part at the moment is done. I've written my story, I've read the other stories and all of that, but it's just having so much on my plate, plus things happening in the world, plus I know it's about to be Mother's Day this weekend, and my family gives me like agita, so
Yeah. Do y'all write at night? That's when I get inspired, but I be tired. Okay, Kim, I'm gonna say this before I forget my thought, and then we'll come back to that if that's okay. Um, I feel you on that because just like there's always so much to do, and it's just kind of like you get to the point where you're just like, I just want to be. I just want to sit here for like 5 minutes. Just like give me like 10 minutes, and then it's just like then I could conquer the world. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a Gretzko, but it's on Netflix and it's about like a talking raccoon and she sings heavy metal. It weird, whatever. Anyway, Amanda, I think you would actually like it. But she's just like, give me 5 seconds and then I'll be an adult, you know? And she has her countdown and then she's like, okay, at 5, she gets up and she goes about her life. That's what feel like on the inside. Like this past like 2 months, it's just like, okay, you just give me like 10 seconds to breathe. And then, I'll pull on my big girl panties on, put on a face, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll go about the day. So I feel that. As far as rewrites, I feel like rewrites are a special type of. Yes, it's so good. I need to watch the latest season. I haven't seen it.
I'll check it out. I'll put it in my list.
It's good. It's really, really good. It got me through teaching, honestly, and you know how much I hated that. And literally, that show was like her screaming heavy metal is what got me through some of my rough days. So yeah, there's that. But I had a point. I lost it.
Rewrites.
Rewrites are hard. Editing and rewrites require a special type of energy because you have to focus it. Like you have to focus your creative energy. It's like the difference between like, and this is so weird. I don't know where my brain is at right now, but it's kind of like the difference between like when you're playing video games and you have like those little monsters that shoot wherever, and it's just going however randomly versus like shooting a laser beam. And editing and rewrites are like trying to shoot a laser beam. You have to focus all of your creativity into one spot. That was a really terrible analogy. Y'all, I'm tired.
I got see again, this is those moments I must be on your level because I'm crystal clear.
Yeah.
I think for me it's I mentioned last week, but I've mentioned this before, but because I'm having to overhaul so much of this and I'm adding content to then tie in other content and changing my main character's kind of essence and then other side characters kind of as a ripple effect. So a lot of it is I'm not just thinking, okay, how is this passive? Do I make this active? Tense shift? Do I tighten this up? Is this plot hole? Consistency. A lot of it is okay. Now that my main character is a different vibe, would she react like this? And going
Mm-hmm.
through all of these things, would she react like this? Is this what she would do? In this moment when she's sitting here wanting to cry, would she want to cry, or would she just kind of
Mm-hmm.
maybe clench her teeth, and just like, mm, which, you know what I mean? Like, I gave her like a habit of, she fiddles with things like, her,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there playing with her clothes and stuff. Do I have her do that as like her nervous tick, or what does she do? You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote a really long chapter the other night, and then wrote a little bit yesterday. So it's just a lot. But to answer your question, Kate, because we kind of have gotten through it,
Yes.
yes, I do write at night because I have to. I wake up I have to start work at 8. I work from home. Here's my desk and here's my bed, okay? That's the distance. I literally can roll my ass out of bed, log into my computer, and be good to go, usually, unless I have a meeting at 8, which is torture. But I wake up anywhere from 7:30 to 7:50, if I'm being straight up, to get to to get to work, okay? I am not one of them 5 a.m. writers. I'm not going to wake up early. I'm not going to wake up before the sun rises. I'm not going to hear the sound of a fucking rockadoodle rooster and be like, yay, let me get my coffee and do my thing. I refuse. So I lunch break it and then I do at night. Um, and usually, like, I'll work out to get some energy that will carry me through at least an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. I'm not doing it in the morning. I will not. I refuse. You can't make me.
Um, but no,
I
like
won't
I
do
get
it.
that. I'm not really. I okay, so my brain is a little bit different because like I can do morning writing when I don't have to create first thing in the morning. So usually if I'm writing in the morning, it's literally like I'm continuing on from a previous day or I'm just editing because we've talked about this. I edit as I write. So I can do that in the morning. But usually y'all know me, I'll do writing. I write during the middle of the day. That's my most productive time, somewhere between like 11 and 3-ish. That's usually my most productive time. I try to do writing sprints, and even if
Right.
like I don't have someone to do them with me, I'll like do them by myself. But if I'm writing at night, I that has to be like a solo endeavor. And for me, that's when I get most of my like intense writing done, if that makes sense. But depending
Mm.
after a certain time, because like once Ben gets off work, I am not writing usually, unless it's like, okay, I have to get this scene out of my head. I have to get this done. But most of the time when he gets off, I'm done for the day and I have to like switch gears completely. And then might write at like 10 o'clock at night, but it's in snippets. I don't try to like write whole paragraphs and things.
Right.
So it's just like I'll text a scene to myself, or there are like these chapter openings that I have at the beginning of each chapter now. I'll send like ideas and stuff for that, or just things that I want to remember. Like if I come up with a character and a name, I'll just send that to myself for later. But I can't write at night. I will fall asleep at my desk at my chair, and then I'll wake up mad because it's cold and I don't have a blanket, and that's just upsetting for everybody in the household.
It's
Me,
upsetting to me,
Ben,
my
my
earth.
dog, everyone.
Yeah, I have had to learn to uh, switch and be productive with my writing at night. Um, and then on the weekends, I have to kind of switch it to do it kind of midday. So it's this weird, I basically have to get it in when I can. I posted a video yesterday about how, like, I have to squeeze in stuff at lunch, after work, writing into the night. For my first book, it was different when, before the panini, when I was actually going into an office. So for my first book, I finished it on my lunch break, writing on an iPad. And I had like a keyboard, and I would just, every lunch, I would go downstairs, I would have my food, I would sit at a table, and I would spend the entire hour basically writing. And
Mhm.
that's how I finished my book. I remember writing the last scene at lunch and then feeling, you write that last scene and it's this wave of just relief, and like, I'm a crier,
Mhm.
so I was a little teary, and having to be upstairs, go back and thug it and just be like, bye. I'm good.
I'm fine.
I just finished my book, but everything's good, y'all. I'm okay. I couldn't fall apart.
But no, I feel that. I'm one of those people. I did not try to write while I was teaching. I was just too exhausted. I worked like 14 hours a day. And I'm not, like you said, I'm not one of those people. I was not getting up at 5 a.m. I had to be at work at 7. It was an hour drive. And I had to get up at like 5:30 anyway to like get dressed, get in the car, drive through traffic, get to where I needed to be, and then like set up for the day. And then I would not leave. Usually school got out at 4. I would not leave before 6. If I left at like 5 or 5:30, that was a good day for me. And then I had another hour drive back. So I was exhausted. And then, teachers are expected to work on their free time. So when I was working,
Right.
I was not writing. And then when I did keeping promises, I wrote that in like 2 months because I was like, I refuse to go back to school. So I was motivated. And We Are the Origin happened mostly while we were doing our writing sprints on my channel.
Hmm.
Most of that came from there. And for me, I need accountability. So if you guys see me in the chat and I'm like, hey, you guys want to do writing sprints? That's me begging someone to be like, yes, like we can write together. Otherwise, I'd be like, it'd be fun watching anime, taking a nap, playing video games.
I think that's also something that is helping because, like I mentioned, I think when you have a deadline, even if it's self-imposed or an external deadline,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of, I think, have to. There's a little more like I have to get this done, so I don't have time. I have to kind of make bandwidth. I have to push things aside. I have to do whatever I have to do to get myself in the mental headspace to be able to handle these things. So,
Have to
perhaps if
prioritize.
yeah, like if anybody, watching this now or in the future is kind of struggling with anything external or like anxiety or whatever that's kind of making it hard for you to focus, perhaps setting some kind of deadline will help because
Helped
like I
us.
said, yeah, it helped get the words done initially, and it's helping me get these my
Hmm?
rewrites done.
Sorry. I had to sneeze. I'm sorry.
You sound like a little mouse.
I get that a lot. I'm sorry. Only because Ben sneezes so loud, and I don't know if y'all have ever like been on a call with me, but if you're ever on a call with me, you're going to hear Ben sneeze, and it scares the living daylights out of me every single time. And I'm like, this is through 2 closed doors and a wall, and I can hear him like he's right next to me screaming, and it terrifies me. And I'm just like, I've learned to live with this, but at the same time, I have very small sneezes because I don't like to be perceived by people in public spaces. So it's a skill I have, curated since I was like 12.
I
So
get that werewolf thing where it's like, I have a lot of lead up to me sneezing, so it's very much like, get a- get away. I'll be okay. Like that's how I sneeze. But it's like, when you're turning into a werewolf, you're like, stay away from me. As you're turning.
but no, I get that. Honestly, I wish I had a normal sneeze because apparently people are never expecting it when I sneeze. And they're like, what was that? And I'm like, I'm sorry. So yeah, yeah, that's my life.
Oh man. So how are things for We Are the Origin coming along anyway?
They are good. I've been getting quotes. So I have 9 quotes currently for my book, one of them from you, and it's amazing. And I'm really excited because I had this idea in my head of I wanted to have like, that first page where people are saying nice things about the book and things that they liked about it or whatever.
Hmm.
And I was convinced that you were the only one who's going to send me one because I know you and I was going to hound you until you gave me one. But I love how you're like, Chelsea, if I didn't like your book, I would not have given you one.
Yeah, but I literally told you I was putting a task for it in Asana so I didn't forget. So you wouldn't have had to hound me because I put a reminder for myself.
And I get that. It was just like at first, before I had heard back from anyone at the very beginning of this, I was just like, no one's gonna want to give me a quote for this. And I was very pleasantly surprised because most people who read it and liked it did give me a quote that I could use. And I'm just really excited about that. So one person was like, they literally wrote in the feedback form that my book inspired them to go back to an old draft that they had left for like years. And I was just like, wow, that's a lot of praise. Thank you so much. But I'm working on like little edits here and there. So like some of the feedback that you gave me about chapter 19, or that last little scene or whatever, and um what you call it, like grounding it a little bit. I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
that, and just like other stuff because I did end up paying an editor. Just like basically my idea is like, even if I can't continue that, because as I'm getting back feedback from beta readers, I'm like, in the future I may or may not pay an editor depending on how it comes back this time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, but I know that I want this book to be as clean and tight as possible because I know that if it is, it'll sell the next book. So I'm just kind of like, I want this to be the best it can possibly be. So I'm a little nervous because once I get them back, I'm gonna have like 7 days to get the edits done and then get physical copies of the book to send out to people who are waiting for an arc. So, because the book comes out in June, so I want to give them at least 30 days with the book beforehand. So that does not leave me a lot of time. So I'm trying to do what I can ahead of time. And I've also started work on book 2. So
Mm.
that's fun. So I'm probably making more work for myself than necessary, but I'm really excited about it. And that's kind of weird for me because with Keeping Promises, once it was done, I was just like kind of done with it. But this one has me really excited and wanting to work on other stuff like in the same series and in the same world. So I'm really looking forward to it. And um, I'm still parsing through some feedback, so I will probably actually bother you once we get off of the live for your opinion on some things. But other than that, it's going well, way better than I thought it would. People are actually pre-ordering the book, which is like insane to me. So
We love
it's
it. So
yes.
here's my question for you is that how are you finding it talking about your book? One of the things I think we as authors struggle with is verbally communicating about our book and promoting our book when we kind of have to do it on the spot or when we have to put together a pitch or anything like that. So how are you finding that process for you?
That's a good question. It's getting easier, mostly because Past Me, one thing I'm grateful that Past Me did is I did write a one sentence pitch about what the book is about, and I committed that to memory. So I was just like, when people ask me what the book is about, I have at least one sentence that I can tell them, and I kind of like naturally fall back onto that. And then I kind of made like the conscious effort to like, as a fantasy author, I was like, this is how I want to be remembered. Like write stories about I write fantasy books about Black girls who aren't all that nice. Giving myself that in the one sentence pitch makes it a little bit easier because I feel like that in and of itself gives a lot of people an idea of kind of what to expect from my book. But I do still get really nervous because for me, it's just like I don't want to jinx it, because my book
Hmm.
hasn't come out yet. And, you know, so far, only my beta readers have read it, which I don't know exactly how many that is, but like being generous, that's like 10 people. And some of them liked it, some of them did not. And I'm like, okay, you know, when it's out in the world, people can be excited about it because objectively, the cover is really pretty. I like it. But as we all know, sometimes book covers do not live up to expectations. So I am a little I'm a little nervous to cling on to the positive energy because I'm like, where there's positive, there's negative. So just trying to keep myself balanced in between and to not give people too high expectations, but also letting people know, like, hey, I did write a book. It is coming out. You can find it here. And I find it a little easier to do on TikTok because I feel like the community there is a lot more engaging and supportive. And I feel like it's where when one person comments positively, other people will also follow that energy, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So that is a little bit easier than like say talking about it on the podcast or even like right now, because it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I did write a book. It's coming along well, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you. I think that that's definitely a topic I would like to expand on. So, those of you watching now or in the future, let me know, leave a comment, and let me know if you'd like to talk about that, if you'd like to get some advice, or me or Chelsea and I, or maybe even meet a couple other authors as well to talk about how to talk about your book comfortably.
Yeah.
Because I think if you do the work ahead of time as you're writing the book, as you're trying to promote it, it'll be a lot easier than once the book is out and then you get asked to be on an interview or you get asked to be on like Virtuous Con or you get asked to be on a podcast and then they go, so tell me about your book. And then you have to kind of it's the moon and the sun and the stars or picture it, America 2022. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it'll be a lot easier if you have it done. I agree. For me, I ended up writing like a for the series. I wrote a long, like page long synopsis. I wrote a paragraph of what the book was about. I wrote a tweet length paragraph about what the book is about, and I have kind of a sentence ish about what it's about. And I use those interchangeably, but I have the tweet length. My hack is I used to feel really unprepared when I would see people tweet about writer's lift or I'm looking for a rec about certain types of books or indie authors, share with me your books. So
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a tweet length pitch about my book and a link to the book, and I have it in my notes on my phone. So whenever I see that a tweet like that, if I feel like I can slide in, obviously you want to look at the genre, you want to look at what they're asking for and also who's asking, because I'm not under any illusion of somebody some Becky going, I want fantasy. She might not like the kind of fantasy I'm bringing into the fold.
Oh, I'm. Let me write this down because I'm coming back to that.
You know what I'm saying? So I have it in my notes app and I will be like, thank you. And, I have enough character count to say something like, thanks for doing this, or thank you, or, here's my book. And then I post it and then move on with my day. And it just makes it so much easier. I don't have to think of things on the spot. And I can usually, if I see it at work and I have a minute, I can just tweet. If I'm wherever, I'm prepared to be able to answer it. I don't have to bookmark the tweet for later and then potentially forget and then sit there and ruminate and then be anxious and then not tweet about it because I don't know what to say. I feel unprepared. So that's my hot tip for everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is to, have your pitch in your phone so you can just get
I
it out there.
I would also recommend that you have your summary saved, because that's
Mm-hmm.
also something that I get asked a lot. And I'm just kind of like, here it is. So that and links to your book, whether it's like a universal book link, because that's also a thing that I realized very quickly that I just like, I don't need to like have to like go to the website, click here and click there. Just like have it saved somewhere and you can just send it to someone when they ask. Because people will ask on Twitter a lot, like, do you have a link? Where can I buy it? Where do
Mm-hmm.
you want me to go? Especially if you're trying to sell it through your website.
Yeah.
Amazon, you can just be like, oh, it's on Amazon, and they'll find it. But if me personally, I push my website. So,
Yeah, your website, and if you're somebody who, you have a lot of different things going on, I have a link tree. So I do put the full amount of my links in my description on YouTube, but I have my link tree in my bio on social. So when people click it, they get access to all of the books I've got going on. They can, the Horror Host Support Group podcast, they can take a look at those episodes. They can join my newsletter. I'm in the process of setting up a Ko-fi right now,
mhm.
so people can eventually click on that and help a sister out because it's going to go towards audiobook, audiobooks for my works.
Yeah,
So
it's real. It's expensive being an author. So I will definitely support once you have it. Just let me know.
thank you.
And Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, when you were talking about non-melanated people reading your books, and was like, it's not for you. I have decided to fully embrace the going on non-melanated spaces and being like, yeah, I am. I like going to where the authors can. Same, literally the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, I want to start going to these spaces and being like, yes, I'm black and I wrote this really black story. I'm already here. What you gonna do about it? Because I was on a Right Hive panel. I was on two panels for Right Hive for their convention that's in June. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they, as they say, I'm not gonna use the F word, but they messed around and found out. And I'm like, keep asking questions, bro. I will answer them. I have answers. I don't know if there's what you're looking for. But one of them was just talking about females in fantasy, and I was the only black person on the panel. And y'all know me, I'm black. I talk about things as it relates to me as a black person. That did not
Right.
change because my audience changed and the people around me changed. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you guys think about, oh, how do I write black people? And I'm like, how do you write a good character? That's kind of a better question, is it not? Because we're still people. Are you saying I'm not a people? Is that the conversation we're about to have? We'd love to have it.
Are you saying I'm not a people? Right. You know, that whole I don't care if you're black, white, purple,
Yeah.
green, because
And then
that exists in this world.
but also I'm like, people say they want to diversify their bookshelves, but then I think about that one time I got a comment and a white girl was literally like, "Is it okay if I read books by black authors? Because some of them sound really good, but I'm not sure if it's okay for me to read them because I'm not black." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a book. Go for it. Hope you enjoy it." But there are really people who think like that. There are really people who genuinely think that because books are advertised towards black people and they understand that not everything is for them, especially if it's not marketed towards them. And there is a line that shouldn't be crossed a lot of times when it's talking about taking something that isn't meant for them. Some
Right.
people genuinely think that books fall into that category, you know? And I just want to go into these spaces and be like, no, I wrote this book and all the characters are black, unless I tell you otherwise. But it is still a really good book, and there are these aspects to it. So if you like fantasy, if you like world building, if you like, complex characters, if you like interesting dynamics, if you want more adventure than romance, then yeah, this would probably be right up your alley. Just go into it not expecting the characters to necessarily look like you, act like you, think like you, but also it's a fantasy world. I no one ever talks about the fact that in certain books, like it's just like it's a fantasy world, they think differently, they move differently, they act differently because they're not set in America or they're not set in our regular world. Like things they're concerned about are not the same. That's a whole
Right.
different rant that I'm not going to go down, but
No,
it's
I
just
feel you. I saw this tweet from this author. I don't remember the author's name, but his
hmm?
book is Legends and Lot. I saw that. His book is Legends and Lattes, and it's a queer romance book. It's supposed to be like a feel good fantasy of this ogre who starts her own coffee shop and falls in love with her somebody who works there, and there's a little bit of a tussle, but it's like a lighthearted fantasy with a sapphic romance. Cool, sounds good. The cover's beautiful, and maybe I'll read it down the line. Well, he had somebody leave a review that was like, I didn't realize that this was a hey girl,
Hey.
was like, I didn't realize that this is a sapphic or a lesbian romance, and that's not the type of content that I like to read. So I didn't like this book at all because, and they gave it like 1 star, and like I'd put it 0 stars if I could.
But you
And
read it. You finished it, didn't you?
right, and she basically had said like, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't expect that this was going to be that kind of story. And it's like he's like, the author went, I didn't exactly bury the lead. It's in the back blurb, and it's also on the front of the cover. There's two ogres. One is green and the other one's pink. and the one who's pink, her tail is kind of wrapped around the green ogre's arm, or like touching the green ogre's arm in a, like, as you would, you touch your lover, like you
Mm-hmm.
know, on this part of the shoulder. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, if you were really looking at it, you would know, sis. So it's just things like that where it's like,
Some people don't want to know,
did you expect what the default is supposed to be is straight and white?
which is completely insane to me, because I'm just kind of like, why is that? Why? Who said that was the default? Like, you realize you can change your default setting at any time, like, and I think about that, like, when it comes to like pretty much any device except for Apple devices. Y'all got weird rules I gotta follow. But like with like Android
Girl.
devices or TVs or like literally anything, you realize that you can change the default, right? Anytime that you feel like it. And it's just like a whole lot of people just don't. But just assuming that it's going to be straight and white is just kind of weird. Like, why?
Even with fantasy characters as well. So that's another topic that we can delve down as well, is kind of talking about expectations placed on fantasy and fantasy characters, and how the default is, see, look at us, just thinking of future topics. Even though we're tired. Chelsea.
Don't Chelsea me. Look. It's a lot. There's so much about this writing thing, this authoring thing, this publishing thing, especially as an indie author, especially as Black authors. There is just so much
Mhm.
to it where it's just like you got to talk about it, because the reality of it is, as proud as I am of my book, part of the reason that I have to keep myself grounded and not have super high expectations is because I realize that what I wrote is not what most people are going to be accustomed to. And they're not going to be accustomed to a Black girl being the lead and her not being tokenized and her having a Black lover and her being surrounded by Black friends and, you know, her not being super nice or really sweet or really kind or really loving and really just, oh, let me put myself in a smaller space to make you more comfortable. That's going to
Right.
make them really uncomfortable. They're not going to be expecting a pantheon of gods where it's just like, yes, all of them are in love with a Black woman, the same Black woman. Actually, it's a reverse harem. I hope you're happy, you know. And some of them are not going to be happy with one of the main characters being bisexual. He likes everybody can get it, okay? That's how he is. And some people aren't going to like that, especially since he is more of a masculine character. He's not super effeminate, and that's just who he is. And some people aren't going to like that. And I realize that about my book. And I'm just kind of like, that's okay. If you don't like it, this isn't for you. But that's also why I try to be super clear that it's not for everyone, and that who I'm marketing to are the people who want Black stories with Black girls who aren't nice, because
Hmm.
that's what this book is, and it's not going to cater to any of the things that you would expect.
Right.
And I'm happy. I'm glad for that, you know.
I
So we'll
love that.
see.
And as a bisexual, I can appreciate that energy, because that's the energy I bring into
You're gonna
every
love book two
situation.
then. There are gonna be a lot
Uh,
more queer characters in book two. It's just that this one, the main cast, they are who they are. But
well, and
I'm
that's
excited about it.
the energy I've brought into the series, and in this book, it's going to be, even more, because Zora is a plus size Black woman. She is somebody who, there's an element of her that she's like, I wish that this wasn't the case, but generally, she loves herself. She loves what she brings to the table. You know, I just wrote a scene where she's auditioning to be part of this burlesque dancing thing, and they're kind of looking at her skeptically, like, how is she going to be able to move her body? And she's just like, fucking watch me,
Right?
and she's
Confident Black
athletic.
women. That's
I'm
what they don't
making
like.
her athletic. I'm making her, she's giving splits. She's giving back bends and waving and winking at people. She's giving titty shakes. She's giving pasties. And, the other characters are, everybody in this book is queer. Everybody in this book is queer. Everybody in this book is, in terms of dress, there's not really somebody dressed fully like this person necessarily always reads as a man. This person, because even one of the more masculine characters in the book, Jabari, who Loki kind of styled him after like Andre 3000, okay, because
Mhm.
his hair is always laid, and so is Jabari's. But he wears like glittery jumpsuits and eyeliner, and his eyeliner looks better than half the women he's around. But he's owns a mechanic auto body shop, and he knows cars down, but he still is like he's bisexual as shit. He loves nails and he loves eyeliner, but he can fix anything. Like I love that, just showing the full breadth and width of how people can be. And not everybody's going to be down for it. Not everybody's going to be down for Tamar wearing like a, flouncy tulle skirt and a leather jacket and a white beater, and that being kind of his signature outfit. But he looks hot. So
I mean, it is what it is, and it's just, I think it's the confidence, Black women being confident that so many people are not ready for, and just being like in love with themselves and not searching for validation. And when you write a book that's full of Black and queerness, where no one's looking to be validated by someone who is not Black or queer, people are just kind of like, oh, well, this isn't realistic. I can't relate to this. And it's just like, if you can't relate to that, maybe you should re-examine your own life and who you spend time around.
yeah, or a book that doesn't even have much of people who aren't Black or queer at all, because basically there's there are no white people in my book. There's only a couple people who aren't queer, and that's because they're peripheral. Her mom, her dad, her brother, they're peripheral characters who you don't even really have many touch points with. And
Um,
there's multiple types of blackness in this, and you know people having different styles, and the ways that they present themselves in the world. So y'all better be ready. I hate when people say that. See, listen, this is something we have 3 minutes left, but this is something we could get into for a whole
deeply.
discussion.
But I will say this, and I hope you guys can appreciate it. The My world's a fantasy world, and there are no white people because literally everyone came from a Black woman. The goddess Freya is a Black woman, and literally all the gods had kids with her. So I don't. I mean, there's one god he's written as having pale skin, but even then, I was thinking he's more like Asian looking than than like Caucasian.
He's
So
giving, oh, I'm trying to think of who I did picture like an anime character, but I think
that's
if I
good.
was to cast him, I would have cast him as oh, there's one of the guys in Squid Game. Oh, I can't remember what his name
Um,
is.
Honestly, he was a mix between Sinbad from Magi and Black Butler from
Oh,
Sebastian from Black
Sebastian from
Butler.
Bad.
Yes,
I love that.
Sebastian. He's one
I
hell of
love
a
that.
butler. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, so even then, but I never say that he's Asian because there's no Asian country in my fantasy world. None of the characters are like, oh, they're Black. No, they have dark skin. And the way my world is set up is the darker your skin, the more beautiful you're considered, because Freya has the darkest skin ever, and she is the pinnacle of beauty. There is no
The
one more
beautiful one.
beautiful than the goddess. So like Asarans, like the people who have light skin, like the Asian ones, they're not like rejected or anything like that. But it's just kind of like the main character, Brandy, who is literally like almost the spitting image of the goddess. Everyone is just like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. And she's just like, yeah, I know. I get that a lot. Can you move out the way now? You know? And I don't know. I feel like I want to show some love to the dark skinned Black girls because it's just like, even in fantasy worlds, a lot of times people work in that colorism where it's that favored, oh, the lighter you are, the prettier you are. And in my book it's flipped. The dark skinned Black girl, she's pretty and she's confident and everybody's complimenting her to the point of exclusion of other people in the room. And the light skinned girl is just kind of like, I don't know how I really feel. She feels insecure and she's like, well, I have weird looks and most people don't look like me. And, no one's going out of their way to compliment me. And it's just, it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoy the story as you read it. I just had a lot of fun. And it's a fantasy world. So I hope you guys don't go into it with expectations of like the real world because they're not in there. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to fantasy, people have to suspend their disbelief at least a little bit, even if it is fantasy that is set in this world like mine is. But I mean, again, there's no white people in my book. Everybody's black, and it's all like the dress, the style of dress is very gender fuck, I would say, where people are kind of playing with gender norms and what will look good on a male or female body, masculine, feminine, all of that kind of stuff. There's male burlesque dancers in the at Nightingale's, a magical burlesque club, so
I love it.
it's encompassing all of it. And we could talk about our books forever, but we do have to wrap it up because your girl has to get back to work, working for the man.
Yes.
So thank y'all for tuning in. Again, this is probably, I'm transitioning to doing live shows on my channel because I always have more fun. And it's always fun when I get to kick it with one of my best girls, one of my good sisses, Chelsea. So before we go, Chelsea, do let everybody know where you want to be found and what they can expect from you in the coming months because, you know, everybody buckle up. June 21st, y'all. June 21st.
Yeah, so my book comes out June 21st. We Are the Origin. It'll be available in ebook and paperback.
I knew
You
what you
can
meant.
you can
Keep it
purchase either
going.
from my website. If you pre-order the paperback, it will be signed and come with a couple extra goodies. So you can get that on my website, writteninmelanin.com. I also have a YouTube channel over here on this platform as well, Written in Melanin. You can just search it and it'll come up. Melanin Chat is every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And there's an after chat in our Discord server if you want to help support. And I also run the Melanin Library. So if you're looking for diverse recommendations, books by Black authors, you can check that out at melaninlibrary.com. And if you want to know more about my book, especially about what to expect, you can go to cmlockhart.com and you can see the quotes that people have already given me, as well as what to expect of the book, such as the content warning for graphic violence, if that is your thing. But yeah, that is it. That is me. I write fantasy books about Black girls who aren't all that nice, and I'm excited about what's coming next.
Yes, and y'all can access her links in the description for this episode. So there it is there. Y'all can find me here, Amanda the Author, YouTube, as you know. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram at Amanda the Author with 2 E's. Quiet as it's kept, I'm leaning more towards TikTok as being my primary platform and just having a lot of fun with it. My audience has grown. I'm at like 25K, 2,500 followers, so that's exciting. And again, Twitter, also Amanda the Author with 1 E. My book, In the House of Transcendence, comes out September 22nd, so soon. So all summer, I'll be talking about it. I'll be promoting it. The cover is underway. I'll be so excited to be able to share that with y'all hopefully soon. And yeah, if there's anything that you'd like me and us or anybody who comes on this live with me to talk about, you can message me on those platforms or you can comment down on this video. And I appreciate y'all taking time out your day to hang out with us for just a little bit. But yeah, other than that, we'll catch y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.